I'm so happy I checked that because do you know how many podcasts I've
Oh,
lost?
fuck. Well, what, that other dude's one.
Yeah,
He
or
sat here for 2 hours or whatever, then fucking didn't.
I've lost about four or five podcasts
Yeah, that's
to like not realizing my audio's fucked.
Yeah, you gotta make sure it's on.
So today we got on Pete Abordi,
Yeah, that's it.
the man, the myth, the legend,
No.
the Jiujitsu phenom,
No, definitely not a phenom.
Jiu-Jitsu feet of
Jiu-Jitsu,
Adam Jones's puppet sometimes.
yeah, hopefully not anymore. He's moved on to someone else, hopefully.
He has.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other day we've been meaning to do this podcast for a while. And the other day I was watching Parkway Drive's first doco they did. I think it was like 2007. And I was on my phone because my missus was like, I'm pretty new to the metalcore scene. And Parkway is my missus' favourite band. So she's always pestered me to watch the doco because she fucking loves it.
Yeah, right.
And we were watching it and I was on my phone and I heard your voice and I was like, there's no way. And I looked up and you were on the, you had fucking hair.
Yeah,
black hair.
No tattoos.
You had black hair.
Sitting on my old couch in Sydney.
And I was like, that's Pete. She's like, who's Pete? I'm like, that's fucking Pete. I was like, I know Pete.
Yeah, I randomly get like what you sent to me happens every now and then actually.
It's crazy.
And on that other movie too, the Braboys one.
The Braboys. Oh,
someone will just like, someone I work
Are you on
with,
the Braboys movie as well?
Yeah, not for long, but I'm on there a little bit. And someone will send it to me and go, no way, that's not you. Or something.
It's crazy. See, you're just a man that's lived 50 lives.
I'm old enough too, so yeah, I've done a few things.
I remember the first time a weird thing like that happened was when I had Wayne on the podcast, and Miles was like, "Oh, Pete's from Maroubra," and he's like, "Pete, you know a Wayne Cleveland?" And you were like,
I do.
Yeah, I know
He's
Wayne.
a legend.
Yeah, it's fucking spin out.
Yeah.
So you obviously still are one of the original Braboys?
Nah, not.
How long's it been going
on? Well, so I'm about to turn 41. Probably I am 41 when this comes out. But there was guys well before us. I think it started in it'd go back to. The thing is, right, it basically is just the board riders club. So that started far out. I would have started in the 50s and 60s. But when the term Braboys, I think Sonny Aberden and his mates started it. So he'd be probably 15 years older than me, at least.
And that the Braboys name comes from the area of Maroubra.
Yeah, Maroubra. So that's for someone in Adelaide or somewhere before that movie come out, probably laugh at it and go, brah, that's funny. But yeah, it's just the abbreviation of the suburb we grew up in.
So you grew up in Maroubra. You were raised there.
Yeah,
everything.
well, that's the thing. It's similar to, not as similar. Adelaide, every little fucking street's a different suburb.
Yeah.
But in Sydney, it's a bit bigger. But yeah, everyone grew up in the area, but a lot of us lived in the neighbouring suburbs. But every afternoon or every weekend, we all just used to hang in the area and down at the beach and sort of get up to no good a lot of the time. But also, half the time we're just kids going surfing, playing footy.
I was going to say, and it all stemmed from all your boys' love for surfing, eh?
Yeah, for sure. That's all it was.
Surf.
Yeah.
Wayno's fucking out there. He's 51
yeah.
years old and he's still fucking on big waves.
Yeah, that's right. Still doing trips down here. I think he was here a couple of weeks ago.
He was here last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's literally all it is. The love of the ocean, training. That's the thing. Even it's hard to say because I didn't grow up in another area, but I feel like for us, the older guys put an emphasis on training a lot, and I don't know why. It wasn't like you got to be hard, you got to be tough. It was more like, and I know this now that I'm older. If I don't train mentally, I go off the tracks. Having that constant in your life and getting that exercise and whatever that does, the endorphins or whatever, I need it in my life. So we got that put into us at a real young age. We were boxing and doing shit in backyards and garages all around Maroubra from 12, 14. There was this one Kobe's backyard. We used to spar in 10-ounce gloves, no mouth guards. There's this photo of Richie, Richie Vass.
Yeah.
And he's got this head. He's throwing this huge uppercut, and I don't know if it landed or not. But when I say spar too, we're not just
They're
touching,
fighting.
we're fighting.
Yeah.
And there was this older guy from New Zealand. I either don't want to mess his name up and I can't remember it, and he'd like facilitate it. And he was like a hard dude. I'd done some proper time and stuff. And he was awesome though. He'd, get us in, and if anyone did go a bit too hard and it got a bit serious, he'd just quickly just stop it. But yeah, I was going to say, like, it's the same as any other group, but then I don't think it is a little bit. I think we were a little bit different in that aspect, that we were all training, and that unfortunately led on to, though, like, so you do that shit every day, then you go out at night and everyone wants
Punch on.
And it was stupid. Like, if I could look back and see the shit I did when I was a kid, I'm embarrassed. Like, fighting for no reason, fighting people who don't want to fight you back, shit like that. I fucking hate. If I see that happen now,
It's crazy though. What, like, I always think about like the past, like what I used to think was acceptable.
Oh yeah,
And
now
then you look at it now, and you're like, "Fuck!" I was such a, like, you'd want to grab your old self and just beat the shit out of him.
Well, that's why I changed myself big time when on my like 20th birthday. I just pretty much
Was that the moment? You said, how old are you now?
I'm about to turn 41.
So you've been straight edge for 20 years.
Yeah,
right.
Almost 21. So on my 18th birthday, we started at Bondi. Got taxis to King's Cross, which is where you'd end up most nights. And I won't go into it, but I spent the night in a cell that night on my 18th. And then for the next 2 years, so from 18 to 20, I did some real stupid shit. I never got any like charges or anything like too bad, but every weekend was just something else. And it was just, I think, like, because I had better role models too through the music side. So I was different. Most of my mates, they just had that one group of people and that's all they had. So that was their world. Whereas because I got into hardcore at a young age and I started touring, and I had an older friend who was still from the beach, but he exposed me to this other world. The problem was, in that other world, they were drinking and carrying on too. So if I wasn't at Maroubra drinking and fighting, I'd be at Newtown drinking and fighting with these other guys who, some of them were actually worse than some of the guys from Maroubra. Yeah. But yeah, I had pretty much 2 years of carrying on like a fuckwit. And then again, on my 20th birthday, ended up in King's Cross again, spent the night again on the floor. And then I woke up the next day and I was just like, that's fucking it. That's enough.
Yeah, no shit. That is a hectic lifestyle. And so what age did you get into? So for anyone who doesn't know, you used to have a really a pretty popular band in the hardcore scene?
Oh, hardcore's similar. You're playing to the same people. Back then, especially, so I've done bands since like the late 90s, none of which were huge, but No Apologies.
No Apologies got pretty big, didn't it?
Oh yeah, we did more than my other bands. Like, we went overseas and we had an album, but that was like mid 2000s and stuff. So this is a bit on from there, but changing that decision I made around my 20th birthday, that sort of helped me. From then on, I don't know what the hell I would have done. And that comes from hardcore, because I wouldn't have known what straight edge was. I would have just continued to sort of down the same path and just continuing on the same cycle, you know?
Yeah, we were talking about that off camera, about how, or I correlate a lot of like straight edge people. Straight edge, for anyone who doesn't know, it's just like not like living more of a healthy lifestyle, no drinking, no alcohol, no substances. And that seems to be pretty like big in the hardcore scene.
Yeah, that's the weird thing. For someone who hasn't heard or know what hardcore is, it's just basically punk music, but it's a bit heavier. So it's a combination of metal and punk.
There's so many fucking genres within metal. It's hard. It's
fucking ridiculous. But I mean, if you haven't heard it, you'd just think they're going raw, 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 raw.
Yeah.
But really, the songs are about fucking ethical things. And like, I learned everything I know about the world through the hardcore pretty much. Like, it's all like, it's not non-sexist, non-racist. It's all these songs about equality, and like, it's just bizarre because you hear the music and you think they're singing about kill everyone, die, but it's actually the opposite.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's shaped who I am pretty much, and my morals and ethics. It's pretty crazy.
And did you grow up obviously listening to metal and hardcore and?
Yeah, no. Also, I got into like punk through surfing videos, so like Pennywise and all those kind of bands.
I was gonna say I went down a rabbit hole of No Apologies the other day, and it sounded like I was listening to like a Tony Hawk's like montage or something, like an old skate montage video.
That's what hardcore is. It's just this combination of metal and punk, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, through the punk bands, I got in this band called Toe to Toe, who were from Sydney. They played at Maroubra Beach one day when I was like fucking 14 years old. And from then on, I just got, found out more and more about it, got into my own bands. I've kind of done a bit of everything in that world. I've done a label, I've toured with bands, I've toured with my bands, so I've worked for bands. I've worked for bigger bands as well, like fucking AC/DC and Black Sabbath.
Really?
And yeah, just driving. So
fuck that.
When these tours come through, I did Black Sabbath here in Adelaide. Actually,
no shit.
That was fucking mad. I got paid real good. The catering was insane, and all I did was
you got to hang out with the
go
fucking
from
boys.
The entertainment centre to their hotel and back a few times. You don't really hang with them, especially that. Like when I was tour managing hardcore bands, you're hanging with them because it's just you and them. But that also made me feel, they say, don't meet your heroes.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you meet these people and you're like, what the fuck? That's why we're talking about Parkway. Like, those dudes are huge, right? And I went and saw them at Knotfest and took my son the other week. They're playing to 30,000 people and we're hanging out like me and you now.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, right.
You meet these other people in these bands who are fucking a tenth of the size of them and they think their shit doesn't stink. Had this dickhead once, like, make me drive him from here to there, where the door is. And he goes, oh, yeah, I'd prefer you drive me. I'm just looking at him like, you fucking for real.
Such
man?
A fucking like weird perception of
like
reality.
He thought he was that popular that he couldn't walk from, because there was other people around, he couldn't walk from here to there to get like a burger or something. He's like, I'd prefer you drive me. I'd never forget that. I was just, he obviously saw my face. I was just looking at him like, you're a fucker.
It spins me out how like casual and close you are with Parkway, because Pete also does a podcast. Is it 56?
Nah, 5Q's the podcast.
5Q's the podcast.
Questions, yeah.
It's audio only. It's available on Spotify and everything.
Yeah, we're doing a 20-year Parkway little thing that we recorded yesterday that'll be out when you see this, but it's very casual. It's more just a quick. It's meant to be a little bit like a radio show.
Yeah.
It's all about hardcore
and you. So it spun me out because I follow Chode on what's Chode's real name? Jedd Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I follow Chode on Instagram, and then he put a story up with you, and I was like, "There's no fucking way this cunt just like knows all these sick cunts." So you actually do the podcast with Jedd.
I put most of it together just on my fucking phone, and I send it all to him, and he edits it. Like I was telling you, I think. We either started just before COVID or probably during COVID, actually, like everyone else did.
He's got a pretty good following and shit on Instagram.
Jedd?
No, like the podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's just because that page has been a page I've done for ages. I used to do like a zine, and I used to do interviews. That's the thing. It's called 5Qs. I used to do this thing where I just ask people 5 questions, and it's just a little thing. Like, it's nothing crazy. But yeah, so we did a podcast during COVID. And it was a different sort of format, and then we just changed the name because the old name was just dumb. So.
Yeah, no, it's pretty fucking cool though. But so when did you first meet Parkway?
So my band played in Byron before Parkway were a band, I think either 2002 or 2003. And all those guys were just in other bands. So Jedd's brother, Ben's the drummer.
Yeah.
He was like fucking 13 or something. He was so young, and he was playing drums in like every band that played before us. So yeah, back then. But I actually met Jedd prior to that because he used to come to Sydney to see shows. So probably 2000.
They're all surfers as well.
Yeah, they all surf and bodyboard and shit. Yeah, which is cool. That was another thing for me. Like Sydney hardcore was a real like urban like new town, and all these Westies, and so not many people were from the beach. Like just me and the guys in my band were from Maroubra. So meeting them was like we like-minded people, And fucking Byron Bay back then was so cool. Like
it's a bit gentrified now, isn't it? It's a
bit it's probably always been a home to rich people because of how beautiful it is. But I mean, you could just drive around and park, and now it's fucked. The last few times I've been there, like Chris all the celebrities live there now, so it's hard. He's all right though, I think. Well, some of my mates are friends with him, others hate him. So
Yeah, right.
I'm on the fence.
Do they still live in Byron?
They do, yeah. Jedd moved out for a little bit and went up the coast, and because that's one thing, my mentality, I would lose my mind. Just because, like, imagine you grew up in this town and it's just been taken over by these rich people from Sydney.
And now you can't even catch a wave.
You can't park your car. You can't drive. Jedd's got a motorised bike because you can't drive in where they live, right? They live out on towards the freeway at Ewingsdale. Try to come in on that main road. It's fucking just dead stopped most days.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, we'd just, with them, they just drive on the footpath along the side and just pull in front, like at least, and like parking at the pass where you go surfing. Like, it's good now. I think they've brought in like a locals ticket thing. So if you live in the area and pay rates and shit, you get a pass, which is fair enough, because all these fucking other people, you can't even park there though. There's probably 50 spots. They're all full.
Maroubra is probably the same now too.
It is. I was there last week. It was cold, rainy, and there's no... The thing is, when it's a cold, rainy day, it's harder to get a park because all the fuckwits that live there have 3 cars each, and they take up all the park. Like, I just park on the footpath.
Yeah.
Give me a ticket, I put it in the bin.
It spun me out when I was watching that because I'd never seen it before, and I was watching it, and I didn't know that they had a bassist, and then he had a kid and whatever, and he had to, like, that wasn't good for the band kind of thing, and then they got their mate, what is it, Pig? Is it Pig?
No, that's Pie.
Pie.
But he was already on tour, like, selling merch. That's an amazing thing. Never played bass before.
He's such a fucking funny bloke.
He's a legend. But, like, that was awesome because that showed people fucking who they were instead of getting some, like, amazing bass player or musician.
Just get a mate.
It's like, hey, can you play bass? Yeah. And now he's like an actual member of the band. So it's like...
And so did you go on any kind of tour with them when they were uprising?
Oh, yeah. I've done heaps of shit with them. I've done America with them.
Really?
I've toured around Australia a whole heap of times.
That's crazy.
Yeah. We did this tour once. It was like their label at the time, Resist. They toured did it like a Christmas thing or something. And there was a show like the whole way down the coast. So every bridge we went off, we got out of the car and jumped off it. It was pretty fucking crazy. Like, we jumped off this bridge near Newcastle, and I was like, this is the kind of bridge people jump off to fucking
kill themselves.
Yeah, like, we left our shoes on and shit. Like, it was fucking huge.
Oh.
Like, it had to be like 30 meters high.
That's fucking
It was crazy. Winston did like a flip to start to check how high it was and if it was deep enough. And I was just like, oh man, this is fucking crazy. Then we got to Maroubra and I took him to the cliffs where we grew up. And it's called street level because you just walk from the street and that's it. And you've got to time it and jump when a wave comes. But their mate, it just thought, this isn't that high. We've done way higher than this, and just jumped. And as he did, his legs went out and he just landed flat on his back. And we had to take him to hospital.
That's fucking... What was it when you met Parkway and you were going around with them when they weren't like Parkway Drive yet?
Yeah.
Did they have that aura about them that they were going to do something, or were they just normal blokes and no one knew?
They're the same as they are now. They used to have this shit van that Jeff owned, and he had a name for it, the Jabok, which is like him and his mates' original call crew. That's what it standard for. And they just used to pile into this shit van and drive down the freeway and play in Sydney. And
it'd be such a spin out to see people that weren't that weren't famous, and now they're possibly regarded the best metalcore band of fucking all time.
It's crazy, and we spoke about this on our podcast. Like, they didn't start the band to be huge. They just started to play to their mates in Byron. But it was because they were doing something a little bit different, and then they were good too, and then they worked hard. They worked fucking hard, man. They toured hard.
When I was watching that doco, it was phenomenal. They were doing it all themselves. Like when they went to Europe, they were fucking
they just went there,
sleeping in shipwrecks and fucking on the side in paddocks.
Yeah. And like, I toured America with them years and years after that, when they were making good money, and we'd get one hotel room between
and share it with the boys.
Yeah, so they're just smart, man. And half would stay in the van and sleep there, and half would go and sleep all through the hotel, like 2 in each bed, everyone else on the floor. They're just really smart with money, and like, they didn't make bad decisions. They also were real lucky too, coming from Byron. All their parents had like pretty like large houses, and so they could either stay in the house still, and they didn't have to rent and have shit jobs. So they were able to focus on their band, and they had really supportive parents too. Like a lot of people from the city would be like, "Go get a fucking job. You can't do this band," you know. And they did have jobs, but I mean, none of them had like careers or anything. So they were able to, when it was time, to say, "All right, let's fucking go," and you know, they started touring.
Yeah, fuck, it's insane. They just got so many bangers. Look,
Yeah, it was cool to see them smoke Slipknot the other night. They fucking smoked them.
really?
Oh man, just because Parkway songs kind of have an ebb and flow, whereas Slipknot was just this wall. And Parkway have like sing-alongs and guitar solos, and like I'm obviously biased, but yeah, they definitely did.
But did they go on before or after?
They played before
They
Slipknot.
played. Oh,
yeah,
that'd be
yeah.
the Slipknot would be
A
fucking
lot of people.
devo.
A lot of people left. I saw a lot of people leaving.
I really want to see Parkway live. I've never seen them.
Oh well, fuck those! They're the biggest shows I've seen.
Yeah, seeing like Carry On live or fucking just something would be so cool.
You might not have to wait too long, mate. All right.
Are they gonna
Little inside scoop?
Yeah,
for you.
right. No way.
About the end of the year, I reckon.
Yeah, I was listening to them today. That like Wild Eyes live would be the fucking.
That's
the best,
what they ended with.
That'd be the best fucking song ever to hear live.
That's the closer.
So when I was growing, I was saying I wish I was embedded in that scene when I was younger, but because I was a hip hop and like dance music head.
Yeah.
And my missus took me to see Architects.
Yeah.
When they came fucking or maybe 4 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I used to like 80s metal and 90s metal, but then I just fell out of love with it.
Yeah.
And when I seen Architects, I seen Polaris played before Architects.
Yeah.
They were better than Architects.
Yeah, sick.
But Architects was so fucking good live. It's like there's nothing like a metal show.
Yeah.
There's nothing live like a metal or a hardcore, like just a really heavy fucking metal show.
Well, I love hip hop too, and most hip hop shows I've gone to, I've left disappointed.
Yeah, because it's not.
It just doesn't translate live. The energy of a hardcore show, especially Parkway ones now, are a whole different beast because you got fire and you got the show and you got the backdrop
and you got 20,000 people at the shows.
That's right. But a small hardcore show in the size of this room, you never beat the energy, you know. But no security, no barriers. You got people fucking just doing whatever they want. That's what I love.
I'm pretty sure my missus said to me one of the first times she seen Parkway, she saw him at like the Gov or something. They played it and they played 3 consecutive shows.
Yeah, that was the Horizons tour.
And apparently that was like fucking insane. It was one of the craziest shows.
Yeah. When they first started coming here, they were playing in rooms the size of this though.
Oh my God.
There's footage of my wife and her friend like fucking moshing, which is funny. I should try and get that actually. But that would have been like 2003, 2004. You know, that's a while ago now.
Yeah, you've had a fucking crazy life. So you grew up becoming like be with the braboys, then you fucking ended up somehow like touring with Parkway Drive.
Yeah.
And then you've had your own like successful bands, and now you're like pretty successful, or you're still growing in jiu-jitsu as well. When did you get into jiu-jitsu?
Well, back in Maroubra, right, in the late 90s, all these Brazilian guys moved there. So, and they're surfers, a lot of them. So they started surfing, and I think it was Sonny, Kobe's older brother, that made the connection between. I'll forget their names, but one of them's I should remember their names, but I don't want to fuck it up. But anyway, some of the guys that started the first Gracie gyms and stuff in Sydney. But it started out training in garages and shit, man. They just put mats in, and even in the park or in the surf club, where Maroubra Beach, this like clubby surf club, they used to just train on the fucking carpet.
Fuck that.
So I went to a few, and a lot of my mates were getting right into it. Some were competing, like Richie. He hasn't. Well, he's had breaks over the years, but that's when he started. So that's a fucking long time ago.
You a purple belt?
Nah, man, I'm fucking barely a blue belt.
No shit.
But yeah, what I was going to say, when I started it back then, I don't know, and I'm not homophobic, but they're like, "Yeah, guys, come get in my guard," and I'd just be like, the fuck? Because we grew up boxing, you know, like fucking punching each other in the head.
A lot of people probably thought that when jiu-jitsu, that's the stigma with old school jiu-jitsu though. Like it's a bit like gay.
Well, it just, whatever reason, I just wasn't into it, and I didn't see because back then I was like, I can knock you out. Why do I want to lay down on top of you? You know what I mean? And And that was a stupid mentality. And that's why I came back to it. Because now that I'm older with kids and shit, I don't want to fight, obviously. If a guy punches me, I still probably won't punch him back now because I don't have to.
Does your older son do jiu-jitsu?
He's been, and he used to train where I used to go, and he comes to the First Nations stuff a bit, but he doesn't love it. But he knows enough, I think, to like if someone did something to him, he could just... That's the only reason why I did it, right? Why I've come back, just to negate a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
If there's some drunk guy that's bigger than me or stronger than me, I can stop it, you know? And I don't have to punch and get myself in trouble. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, I do have a pretty bad temper, and especially when I was young, so I'd fight a bit, and I haven't had a fight for fucking 10 years, you know?
At Knotfest, were people pretty chill? Or
everyone was cool as fuck.
Cool.
Yeah, because I had my son, it was over 18, so we weren't meant to go in the crowd anyway. We're meant to stay backstage. Everyone was just giving him fist bumps and loving. Nah, metal's sick, man. Like, metal, hardcore, generally, most of the people are all pretty like-minded. There's probably, at something that big, of course, there's a few, like, fucking drunk people and
There's
shit.
some fucking mosh pits, though. And I said, I didn't know it, like, I've never seen a mosh pit up close. And when I went to Architects, is like a pretty fucking tame one, my missus was saying. Yeah. And she's like, this is not a mosh. Like, she's been in mosh pits where she's, like, broken her fucking, like, tailbone.
Yeah,
and shit.
You can just get hit, and dumb shit can happen by accident.
No
one's trying to like hit anyone. Really.
I watched this fucking little ranger kid get like cleaned up by this massive dude.
Did you pick him up?
I was like, "Is he alright?" And Yaz is like, "Oh, he's fine." And then they picked him up, and he was like cheering.
I took Adam to see Speed.
Oh yeah,
and it was in like just that fucking, what's that venue called next to Enigma?
Next to Enigma.
Yeah, you know where the car park is?
Yeah, on Hindley Street.
Yeah. It's a smaller sort of venue. And he was just like, what the fuck are these people doing? And he was rattled. And I'm like, haven't you seen this shit before? Because like...
It's a strange...
It's
weird
totally
to
different.
see.
And people are fucking swinging their arms, looking like they're like trying to do backstroke. And it's a different style.
I'd pull my fucking shoulder out if I tried to do some of that.
Dude, that's what I watch now. Like, I used to fucking stage dive and throw myself around. I'd think, fuck, I couldn't do that now.
Oh, yeah, it's fucking great. Shout out to Speed as well. They're fucking really good.
Legends.
They're really good. They're from Sydney as well.
Yeah, Sydney. They're about to fucking tour the world.
The world.
Yeah, they just did Asia. They got Europe, America. They got everything coming up.
Yeah, that's going to be good. And so you got like a little project now called Smash, eh?
Yeah, that started years ago. But during COVID, I fucking was at home on JobKeeper. I thought, fuck, I'll just make some music because that's just kind of me mucking around. And yeah, I'm just doing a few shows. Keep it sort of local, I think.
Do you play guitar and stuff?
No,
as well?
sorry, for the recordings I do. I wanted to
you know how to play.
But live I just sing and have my mates play with me. Will plays bass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to do the drums and everything on the recordings, but I'm not good enough to play drums.
Do you know how to scream?
Oh, it depends. I do, but I mean, I'm not like, I just...
You can't, have you ever
I've never
tried?
really tried. Like, my very first ever band, I like was trying to do a heavier voice, and it just sounds fucking stupid. That's the thing. You've just got to do what you've got, you know what I mean?
Winston's got a fucking really good voice for it.
Yeah, he does. The weird thing is, when I did sing that song with him, the engineer was like... Dead
Man's Chest, yeah.
The engineer was like, you're like twice as loud as him. So it all depends on the pitch. So... He's even told me he's not like going, he's like going, whoa. Like he's only just making that noise, which is fucking strange to me.
Yeah, so I found out the hard way because I was like fucking around with my missus one day and she's like, you would not be able to scream. I'm like, it's fucking easy, dude. And I hurt my vocal cords really bad within like 2 minutes.
For them too, they play for like an hour now. So that's just like, you got to do a proper warm up. You got to be doing breathing exercises.
Yeah, because you're trying to pull it up from fucking here.
Oh, yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
It's meant to come from your stomach. So
it's just
practice,
training,
I guess, yeah.
Have you seen that Will Ramos?
No.
I think he's from Lorna Shore.
No.
Will Ramos? He's fucking one of the like most talented vocalists.
Yeah, okay.
Like he's so impressive. He can make noises that humans shouldn't be able to make.
There's all people like that now. Like we were just fucking, if you asked Winston, he was just yelling into the mic, you know what I mean? But obviously over time, and now he's also like kind of trying to sing and shit.
That scene.
Apparently he lost his voice a bit in Brisbane and they had a bit of a scare. Like they had to have a stop and say...
I've seen that.
Yeah, but they're talking about... That's happened in Brizzy before, so it might just be that it's a lot of pressure because they had 170 guests or something, all their family come. There's a lot of pressure. So it might just be that. Who knows? But
that fucking
just
one
done
scene.
3 shows in a row too. So.
The one scene in that Parkway documentary where his voice was fucked, and they got Jedd to fuck.
It's the best. We did that for his 40th birthday a couple of years ago too.
Really?
I did a surprise because we had it at the house in Byron, and I organised for them. We had all their gear set up downstairs, so the party was like out on the back deck having a barbie. Then we said, we got one more surprise, and we went down and their gear was set up with like this shit banner that said Parkway Drive, and they played and let Jedd sing just for like 50 of us. It was pretty fun. Everyone was like fucking moshing around.
The fucking balls you would need to do that. I couldn't think of anything, but he knew, obviously he knew all the songs word for word, and
he just can't sing. But I mean, it's fucking funny. That footage is hilarious. He's like, thank you. He's making people sing.
He was doing autographs and shit after.
Fuck yeah.
People loved it.
Yeah.
That's fucking dope. But so were you living in Maroubra when the riots happened?
I was, but I was actually on tour with my mate's band from America, and I was in Melbourne the day it happened. Yeah.
Because they were fucking crazy.
They were. But one misconception.
For anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, because some of my listeners are younger, if you go on Google and you look up the Cronulla Riots, they were heaps massive. Was it? It wasn't specifically with the braboys and the Lebanese community?
No, that's what I'm going to say. We weren't involved at all.
Yeah.
It was at Cronulla, and the problem was, right, and this is good that this is going out there, the local surfers and local people of Cronulla just didn't handle their own shit for a long time. So the problem they have, similar to Port Noarlunga, they've got a train line that runs to their beach, right? So for a long time, they had people from all over Sydney go to their beach, right? And that's what the beach is for. It's for everyone. I'm not saying Lebanese people or this and that can't go to the beach. Totally not saying that. But these people would come into the area, act like fucking idiots, and not get checked on it. And it happened for years and years and years. And the locals in Cronulla were all, I was going to say weak something or others, but they should have done something. In Maroubra, right, I saw it happen a lot. Guys would come down, act like fuckwits, they'd get handled, told either don't come back or don't act like that here. You're not going to get away with it. And it never happened. So that's why Maroubra now, I feel, well, it's got what's that fucking
gentrified.
Word? Yeah, anyway. But I mean, it was always, if you didn't act like a fuckwit, it was the not best beach to be at, you know what I mean? Anyway, so for years and years, these guys would come into Cronulla, act like fucking idiots, do dumb shit, and they'd get away with it. And they'd probably piss everyone off, but no one did anything about it. So then there was a few tipping points. I think a volunteer lifeguard was punched, and a girl might have been, I'm not sure exactly, a girl was treated inappropriately. And then they started sending texts around, let's reclaim the beach, let's, like, full Aussie bogan shit, you know what I mean? Australia, like. Whereas if they had have just dealt with the individuals, give them a fucking hiding. They deserved it. But the whole Lebanese community isn't banned, you know what I mean? Like, dude, we would have got bashed if we were there. It was anyone not white. You would have died.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how stupid it was.
Yeah.
And it started with good intentions, like, let's fucking no, that sounds terrible. They can't reclaim anything. It's not theirs. They're not fucking Aboriginal. That's whose land it is, But anyway, so that was the start of it. Then on that day, it turned to shit. The numbers got bigger and bigger. People started drinking, and then they just started attacking anyone that's not white. That's fucking racist. It's just Aussie bogan mentality.
Yeah, and it boiled over really hard.
Yeah, and the one guy that got put on the newspapers and everything, don't know what I should say here. Let's just say he's not around anymore.
Yeah, right. Fucking.
So anyway, the only involvement we had was the next night, because the fucking media go, it was the braboys. So the Lebanese community who don't fuck around, dude, they're, you know what I mean?
Especially in New South Wales,
they've come from
pretty hectic people.
Fucking, you know what I mean? If you want to go to war, they'll go to war. So they said, all right then, let's go to Maroubra. You know what I mean? And then the next night they fucking tore through Maroubra, smashed every car. One of our mates just happened to be there with his wife having dinner, and he went out to say, I don't know what he went out to do. But him and some of the Brazilian dudes, which I always respect, they backed him up. They got fucking a hiding though. There's probably 50 on 5. And so then the next day, obviously that annoyed us because one, we didn't have anything to do with it. So then you come into our place and do that. So then I'm getting phone calls and everyone's gearing up and getting shit ready. And I'm thinking, it's going to sound like a fucking war. Like, and when I say gearing up, they're getting weapons and because they were ready if they wanted to come back. And I'm like, I was in Melbourne and I was with one of my good mates, Corey, who's in a band called Internal Affairs. And he's like, let's go. I'll come back. And and I'm like, well, the tour's on. We can't just leave the tour. And one, I don't want to have anything to do with that kind of fucking shit. It sounded scary.
People are going to die.
I honestly thought people were going to die.
Yeah.
They've got guns for sure. And I assume we might have had some. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Either way, so there's more ways to fucking... If you
it's
kick
just a terrible... And it's all over nothing.
Yeah.
We fucking had nothing to do with it. So luckily, we had a connection with one of the bike gangs. I won't say who. They came down and they squashed it all. And if they didn't, fuck knows what would have happened. Yeah. And the police had nothing to do with anything. They're fucking useless, obviously. But yeah, I hate it when we get brought up with the Cronulla Riots shit because it had nothing to do with us. It was just those
it was
guys.
Depicted that way.
Yeah, of course it was. And for your general person, if you look at a map, Cronulla's nowhere near Maroubra. We had nothing to do with it. If it happened at Maroubra, yeah. It was just the next night where something happened. But even recently, this band we played with had a lyric and it said something about that. And I won't mention who they are. I don't want to give them any more publicity. But I wanted to meet with them to talk, and they obviously didn't.
Was that your thing you posted on your story?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know the law behind the fucking...
I was actually been waiting to cross paths with them for a while, and they weren't there. They whatever. I wasn't going to do anything.
You were really amped up about that.
Dude, it's just like speaking about something you got no idea about and putting it out to an audience too, so then everyone that hears that thinks again that that's true. It's just fucking stupid. Like, I'm aware that there's I'll call it a misconception of what a braboy is or a perception, but they've fucking got no idea. I'd love to have a conversation with them. Like I said to you before, get 100 people. You'll have good people, you'll have bad people, and you'll have people that make money doing things that aren't legal, and that's what the braboys is.
To you, are the braboys, would you see that you're like when you were growing up as a gang?
No, not really.
Just a pack of boys who love to surf.
Yeah, just a whole bunch of mates, and I don't know.
That looking after each other.
I know we got termed as a gang, and there was some fucking database.
Really?
I don't know if I should say this. Wayno probably doesn't know this, but when he was arrested, I was pulled in because I was working at the airport.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I thought I'd done something at work. But so there's international and domestic. And I don't know if it was the day he was arrested or it would have been or afterwards. It wasn't before, obviously. And they're
because they thought you were maybe doing dodgy.
Because I'm at the airport. I've got an ASIC card. Even now, when I renew my ASIC card, which is like your ID at the airport, mine always takes longer. And I'm
do you still
just
work at the airport?
I do now, but I'm not on the tarmac.
Yeah, right.
But back when I was in Sydney, so that day, I reckon it was that day from memory, 2 guys come in and they're in uniform. They asked who I was or where I was, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
For anyone who doesn't know, who hasn't seen the podcast, one's my most popular podcast. I did a podcast with Wayne Cleveland. He got done for traffic. He is a braboy, and he got done trafficking large scale amounts of cocaine into Australia, and he got 16 years jail. So when we did the podcast, I didn't realise how fresh it was.
Yeah.
And I was like, so how long you been out? I was expecting him to say like fucking 10, 12 years. He's like, 2.5 years. Yeah. I was like, oh fuck, you're fresh. Fresh. That's a lot of time.
No, but yeah, like that whole situation, and fucking for them to come over to me, that's what I mean. That's why I'm like, they must have some sort of... But when you ask if it was a gang, it's not like we're organised crime fucking and we're kicking money back to each other. No, it's just a bunch of friends. And yeah, some did things, you know what I mean?
We were saying before...
Like any group.
We were saying before that because I was telling you how the movie was massive in my generation, because it was like, it's cool. Like when you depict someone as a criminal or something, it's enticing.
Yeah,
it's
everyone loves that
It's
shit.
enticing. So and you were saying how you're not heaps fond of the movie because how it depicts and kids from the area who came from good houses ended up going out and being dickheads.
They thought they had to live up to this expectation of being a fucking idiot. Whereas, and that's the way Macca made the movie, and I'm not speaking on his behalf, but he probably feels the same as me. I feel like it influenced the younger generation negatively. You know what I mean? Whereas, especially by the time that come out, I'd turned the corner for me. And most of my friends were the same. They weren't about fighting and being a fucking idiot. And that's the thing with Maroubra. Like, still to this day, if you go there and be a fuckwit, you're probably going to get bashed. You know, and possibly not. But I mean, that's the same anywhere. I'd like to think. Like,
if you're a dickhead in fucking Morphett Vale, you're probably going to get bashed.
Yeah, and that's life. So that's all it ever really was. But there was undertones of other people that were doing more serious things. But that doesn't mean that most of us had a clue what was going on. I was just a fucking kid. You know what I mean? Most of us had jobs and were just regular members of society.
So originally it was just, people, mates, just like kind of watching each other's back, because I assume it was like a low economic area. So
it totally. That's what I was saying before. Like I had my parents, and I didn't live in housing commission. All my mum's side of the family did though. There's an area called Lexington just behind the beach. And that's where all my family lived. And it's pretty shit. It still is, I think. There's a young rapper called Kobe D. Look out for him. He's a fucking legend. He's like putting on free shows in the area, in the park, and he's trying to help the area. When I was a kid, we didn't have any of that shit. Like,
it's crazy that so many like success stories came out of those low economic areas, though.
Yeah, well, you got to fight to get out of there. Like NRL
whether
players,
it be legal or illegal, people have made a lot of money coming out of that area.
But that's what breeds it. Like, that's why I look at like fighters or athletes now. To me, right, once you got money and you got kids, you're almost done. Like Conor McGregor, I'm looking at over your shoulder, he's done. He won't fucking fight again or win another fight.
He won't win another fight, I don't believe.
And it's not just because everyone's got so much better. I honestly, because I've got kids, once you have kids, your whole world changes. When you're young, it's coming from, say, I don't know his story, but whatever, coming from nothing.
He was broke before.
Was he though? I've heard rumours he was a rich kid.
Well, see, I don't know, because he was sleeping at the gym.
Yeah, okay.
So he was sleeping.
That's what I mean. So
he's
got nothing, you know. So that's his only hope of getting out of his shit. You're never going to train as hard and fight as hard as that person ever. So there's something in your head. Once you have kids too, for me anyway, and for anyone, everything switches.
Well, you like that? What's that saying? It's harder to wake up and go running at 5 a.m. when you're waking up in satin sheets.
Yeah, exactly. It's that, as well as everything changes. So once that's sort of switched, you're not coming back from that.
It's crazy, those people that break through though, like fucking Parkway. They just broke through, and they just maintain. Music's different to obviously sporting abilities and stuff, but you also have to change with the.
But even for them,
with
they've
the
got
flows.
Kids and that now. They don't tour the same they used to.
Oh, it'd be impossible.
Yeah, but they also don't need to. That's the difference with music. They can do a quarter but make more money.
They could bigger shows. They could probably even just turn it in tomorrow if they wanted.
They definitely could.
Yeah,
they've set themselves up.
Do you still surf and shit too?
Yeah. Not as much as, again, because of kids, but I mean, like, I still do. We had a good day the other week. We got there's a few waves not far from, well, this is far from here, but South Australia is a good place to surf.
Yeah, see, Wayne and that were in Streaky for big waves. He was with Mick Fanning, I think.
Yeah, they were all over there last week because there's a comp on at Bells starting this week. So
Mick Fanning sounded so familiar to me, and then I was like, oh my God, that's the cunt that punched the shark.
He's a legend. He flew into the airport the other day, and I never go in the terminal. I got like an office, and I was on the phone to my mate Mark, who's a pro surfer too, who was coming down. And I was like, I think that's Mick. You know, like, it was just random that he was just standing in front of it. Like, but all the surfers, they secretly sneak over there. They there's some good waves in South Australia.
Is it all like?
It's fucking far.
Out there.
Oh yeah, it's a big long way away.
Surfing, I've just never understood it. I'm so terrified of the ocean.
It's such a strange concept to ride something on this water and like.
Just the sharks. I just don't get
they're
it.
not everywhere, man.
Oh.
It's not like you're looking around and there's sharks everywhere. Like
Yeah,
they're
but-
there, but
Have you ever had like an encounter?
not
Like,
really.
no.
When I was a kid down in on the south coast of New South Wales, around this place called Ulladulla, pretty sure we saw one, but we all went in. But I'm sure I've been close to lots. I've never been. Apparently, they're just seeing who you are and what you're doing, but that's enough to kill
You'd have
you.
to be pretty fucking unlucky to get bitten by a
Fuck
shark.
yeah. That story in WA the other day is brutal.
What happened?
This girl was on a jet ski and she saw dolphins, so she jumped in to swim with the dolphins in a river, and there's fucking bull sharks. They're like pit bulls.
Yeah, bull sharks and tiger sharks are the worst,
I think
apparently.
it bit her in half.
Really?
In front of all her friends.
There was a video on TikTok and Instagram Reels a while ago of that bloke getting eaten by a shark. Did you
Yeah,
see
right.
that? Oh, it was. I don't know if it
Fuck,
was in South
no.
Australia. It was.
And I don't want to.
It was insane. They were fishing off rocks, I think.
Oh, dude, that was right near Maroubra.
Yeah. Was that
Yeah,
last
Little
year?
Bay.
Early last
Yeah.
year or early this year?
No, so the problem was the fucking fishermen are throwing shit in the ocean. That guy was just training, doing swimming.
Oh,
Yeah.
and it full. You could see like half his body
It's all
like just
Well,
floating.
I did see some video, but I reckon I just saw the one the media released. I don't want to see the other
It's
one.
fucking putrid.
Yeah, well, think about those things. If they bite you, they're not just taking a little bit of skin off.
That 100% has to be one of the worst ways to die.
I think it's pretty quick.
You
I was
reckon?
listening to a podcast the other day in America. Have you heard how bears kill you?
Oh, that would be vicious because
Takes
they
like
keep
half
you
an hour,
alive
yeah.
and they kind of kill you a
They
little
just
bit.
like keep a hand on you and just like, and like you can make a phone call and shit.
I reckon
At least a shark, they bite you in half. How long does that take till you pass out?
a crocodile would be worse probably.
I had a nightmare about a crocodile fucking taking my kid. I reckon it was fucked.
They're terrifying.
Imagine them rolling you and shit. I feel like I could get out of a crocodile though.
Really?
Yeah, just rip its eye out. Fucking put your finger up its ass if you can find where that is.
I've always thought I'd be able to get away from like a tiger.
Fuck no.
You don't reckon?
Tiger would fuck you up.
Nah, because you just fucking zig when they zagged.
What?
You know,
They're
go,
fucking 10,000. Think about a cat. You wouldn't be able to get away from a cat, let alone a tiger.
I got a fucking Rottweiler in the house and he
Oh,
fucking
fuck.
destroys me.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
A tiger would fuck you up. I don't think there's a good way to die if an animal kills you, but a shark I think would be quick.
Oh, I don't know. There's just nothing worse.
Imagine looking down and your legs are gone, but
Oh.
then you just go like this and that's over.
Like those videos of those divers jumping into like massive caves and shit, and it's just a bottomless ocean. That just freaks me out.
Yeah, that scares me a bit. I was on the Great Barrier Reef once with my wife years ago, and there's like the little area where
I've never been. Is it?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Is it? Yeah.
It takes forever to get there though. Like, I think we went from Townsville though.
That's up northern Queensland.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
Heaps
right
north.
up. Yeah, right up the top. And we went out to this spot, and it's all sort of like there's a plantoon, whatever the fuck, the thing floating out there. And then there's like a little sort of area where they've put fucking buoys out for you to swim. And of course, dickhead me goes, "Oh, I'll just go over this way a bit." And I went over, and the reef stopped though.
Oh,
Think
and was
about
it-
how far the boat took 3 hours to get where we went. So think about how far out in the ocean we are. I looked over, it was just black,
Ugh.
and I was like, ugh. Then even turning around and swimming away from that area, it felt pretty weird.
What nationality are you?
My dad was Italian.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You got them eyebrows.
Yeah, are you looking at him?
No, I was just I was like, you're definitely not like
Yeah.
fully
Nah, I'm
full blown
not-
Aussie.
I'm not white.
Yeah, right. Is there a lot of like ethnic?
Yeah, well, that's
ethnics in
another thing
Maroubra?
that happened with that bullshit fucking Cronulla thing. They're trying to say we're racist. It's like we had Koori kids, we were fucking Asian kids, Greek, Italian, name it. Maroubra was Sydney, even just like as itself compared to, especially where I live in Adelaide, like seemed way more multicultural.
What area are you from?
Well, here
Yeah.
I live down like around Marion.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's not.
It just seems like middle class white people.
Once
know?
you start going up towards the western suburbs, that's where all the wogs are usually.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, I worked over that way. What's Campbelltown and
Yeah,
shit.
Campbelltown. That's where all the Italians and Greeks
Yeah,
and
yeah.
shit are. But Adelaide, like this part of Adelaide, especially like the southern area, it's
Yeah.
not diverse at all.
Yeah,
It's
it
like-
doesn't seem like it.
it's not.
It's just, I think obviously we don't have the population either. Like, obviously I've got a lot of Islander friends, Kiwi mates. Like, Sydney's a fucking
You can tell from the food, like in
Thai food everywhere.
in Morphettvale and shit.
Hot shit.
There's not exactly like a wide range of like authentic, different cuisines.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure when you go to Sydney, you can go to some suburbs and they don't even have English writing anywhere.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Like
fucking Campsie.
Yeah.
Campsie's fucking literally all of it's in Chinese.
Yeah.
Like
there's also like why am I forgetting the area?
Bankstown's Lebanon.
Yeah, Bankstown's Lebanese. But there's an area where obviously all the Vietnamese were for years, and I'm forgetting.
Or is that
the name.
Campsie?
No, Campsie's kind of like similar to Belmore and Canterbury. That's the Lebanese people. Fuck, I'm having a mind blank. But there's these pockets. Obviously, when people migrate, they like to be with like-minded or fellow people, and those suburbs are just.
It's like Melbourne. You go to Melbourne, you think you're in Greece in some parts.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, what is it, Carlton and shit? So it's all Italians.
Did you say you've toured like America and everything?
Yeah, done Europe, done America.
That would be sick to do. Doing it on tour would be heaps different to just going and traveling and doing it.
So I went to Europe with my family for my 21st birthday, but then a couple of years later did a full tour with 2 American bands, and we're in a bus, so it's pretty cool. So you play the show, you get in the bus, and you got a bed.
Big bands or?
Like one of the bands called the Cro-Mags, so they're like one of the original bands of the genre. But it wasn't like all the original members, so it was like reunion stuff.
Has hardcore been around for a long time?
Like it comes from punk, so that's the first sort of hardcore bands were like early 80s.
Fuck, what was that punk band that Bam Margera's brother was in?
CK4.
CK4, yeah.
No, well before all that stuff. So there's this cool band called the Bad Brains, who's like 4 black dudes playing punk.
Shit.
So for back then too, in some of those towns in America, they'd be like, "What y'all fucking doing here?" And they'd be like, "This is what we're doing." But they'd also do reggae and shit. They're fucking sick. So they're one of the first. And then like Black Flag and shit, they're considered a hardcore band, kind of.
Do you have like a tier list? Do you have a top 3?
Yeah,
you
for
do?
sure.
Because a lot of
Bad
people...
Brains is one of the top, because without them, they nothing. And musically and shit, like if you look up Bad Brains 1982, it's like some DVD that come out. They're like unbelievable musicians. So just for music alone, they're up there. And then I'd have probably the Cro-Mags, that band. They took what they did but made it harder. They were all like street dudes. They all looked sketchy as fuck. The singer, who's my mate now, he's like in his fucking 60s, I think now. He's the guy that like got me off meat. I don't eat meat and shit.
You're a veggie as well.
Yeah. So just after stopping drinking, I felt so good. I was like, fuck, what else could I do, Like I've got this like clarity in my brain's fucking can think, and I don't feel sick. And obviously a lot of the lyrics for hardcore, a lot of it there was like vegan bands and shit singing about.
Are you vegan or veggie?
Nah, I'm veggie. Like I don't eat cheese and dairy and shit, but I'm fucking bad with like sweets.
The dairy industry is 100% the worst industry in meat production.
It's pretty crazy. Like, what was the sick fuck thinking that went up and started sucking on a cow? Like, come on, man. Like,
I can't drink milk anymore. I still do,
it's
but
not
every time
for human consumption.
Every time I drink like dairy or eat dairy, my stomach is
having
fucked.
Breast milk would be more normal, and then people be like, "Oh,
I've never tried breast milk."
Oh, neither. But
Really?
I mean,
You never fucking gave it a...
Nah, I don't think I like had a cup of it. I might have tasted it. I did something worse than that though. Actually, when my kid was young, he did a little shit, and it had a pea in it, in the bath. And I looked at my wife, and I picked it up, and I ate it.
That's fucked.
But it tasted so bad. Like,
oh yeah.
I guess once it goes through
the
it
bile.
was just all acid, and I was like, oh. But she was just looking at me like.
That's the metal in you.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it'd be funny because it looked like this perfect little pea.
That's fucking
It
weird.
was gross. But yeah, like the people that try and say, "Oh yeah, that's what they're for, cows." Nah, man, that milk's for their fucking kids, not for you.
So when's the last time you ate meat? 20 years.
Same thing, yeah. Around
Really?
there. I toured with the Cro-Mags in Australia in 2003. I met my wife on that tour, so it was like changed my life pretty much. So just prior to that 2002, I stopped drinking. So that
Did your missus veggie as well?
Yeah, she
that
is,
helps.
Yeah.
Your kids?
Well, they kind of are. The oldest one like randomly just eats fucking pepperoni pizza with his mates and like sausage rolls and shit if we're at a kids party, whatever. I think they both eat fish. which is probably good for them. You know, like if I caught my own fish, I'd eat fish.
You eat fish?
I would, yeah. Like if I caught it. I think we went to that wave pool in Melbourne last year now, and there's nothing else for me to eat.
Yeah.
And I paid like $80 for this banquet or some shit, and I was like, there was fish. I was like, yeah, I'll have some fish.
Fish is alright. I don't know. I definitely could go pescatarian. I'd
like fuck any label really. Like for me, if I call myself vegan, it's good because I don't eat chocolate and cakes and biscuits and shit, and so then I don't get fat. So I probably should say I'm vegan, but I also hate the fucking term and the people.
They're like gangs.
And they're just embarrassing, man.
Yeah.
Like there's this, I won't say where, I know someone, but they're like pulling people up on what they're eating and shit. I'm like, fucking shut up, idiot.
So you don't get filthy on people for eating meat or anything?
Like, no.
What's one thing you miss? Do you miss anything?
No,
really?
It's been so long I wouldn't even know. I used to eat heaps of chicken, but that shit's bad for you, right?
Yeah, well, it's got fucking... in Australia, they bleach their chickens and they pump them with fucking
steroids
hormones
and shit. Yeah, you grow tits.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember I'd eat KFC. Like I'd fuck some KFC up. But that's not food.
I was going to say, you're Italian. You like cured meats like salami.
Dude, when I went to Italy, right? So 2000 and what year was that?
You were veggie when you went to Italy?
Just though.
Fuck.
So it was 2002. I literally just stopped eating. Was it 2002? Yeah, it was. No, it was 2003. My 21st birthday. 2002 stopped drinking. 2003, just months before, stopped eating meat. And my family were just like, "Who the fuck's this guy? Won't drink wine, won't eat meat. Like, get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, it's right.
They were rattled though. They just couldn't believe. Like their kids drink wine and with meals over there. You know.
It's a good lifestyle to live. Like.
Yeah, I don't know about fucking letting 10-year-olds drink wine, but
no, I mean like your lifestyle.
Oh yeah,
like the straight edge. Like
I'm 40 and I feel 20. Like I'd fuck my 20-year-old self up.
I'm pretty sure Wayne doesn't drink or anything.
Doubt it.
Anything.
Look at him, man. Does he look like a normal fucking 51-year-old to you?
The other day when I posted a clip on TikTok and it got hundreds of thousands of views. A lot of the comments so funny. So some people were so dirty on fucking anyone, like everyone.
Oh.
Some are like heaps funny, like trying to abuse him.
Oh really?
Yeah, because of being a drug smuggler.
Oh, whatever. They probably fucking took the drugs he brought into the country.
Like all of these,
he's only supplying a market. That's drug dealers, smugglers, whatever you want to call them. They're just making
someone's
going
to do it.
Fucking hell. I'm straight edge or whatever. I've got no problem with it. If people are dumb enough to want to take that shit, supply it for them and make money off them. Fucking hell.
So, but a lot of the comments
before the government does.
The government would do it.
Yeah, well,
the only reason the government put you away for so long is because they can't tax it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What else?
Do you think they burn that fucking money when they?
We spoke about this. What's the worst drug in Australia? Fucking alcohol. But the government's fine with that. Why is that? Because they make a fuckload of money off it.
As soon as they start taxing marijuana, you watch them push out
it's happened in America. It'll happen here. It'll be legal soon, but they'll be the ones making money off it.
Yeah.
But all the guys that grow it at the moment, and they'll soon be they're going to be the people that they go to for help because they know what they're doing. But at the moment they're criminals, but in a couple of years they'll be going to help, ask them how to do it. Yeah,
it's fucking crazy. But it was funny because like a lot of those comments on that Wayne post with females, like, there's no way he's 51.
Oh yeah, fuck.
And do you know what? 13 years in a cell eating healthy and training every day.
Have you seen him train?
No, he says he does some boxing and he's training. He's always doing ice baths and shit.
Fucked up pull-ups where he lands on the ground and does a burpee, then back into a pull-up.
Just some jail
style. But that's what I mean. Like, you're programmed to think that you work a shit job Monday to Friday, drink all weekend to forget your life, then go back to Monday and start again. That's what the average Aussie does, and it's fucking bullshit. And I'm going to teach my kids, I already have, that's not life. Drink if you want, but do whatever you want on the other, you know what I mean? Like, think outside the box a bit. Legally, I'm not telling my kids to be fucking drug dealers, but I mean,
yes, go.
I'm more going back to the not drinking side of it. Like, you don't be a sheep and just follow what your mates do.
Yeah,
you know, it's not cool. Like
if you want to do something, do it for yourself.
I copped shit for years from my mates. Don't worry about that. Like, you don't drink, you fucking pussy.
Especially in the scene,
dude. My mates from Maroubra, like, they couldn't believe it, but now they look back on it, fucking 20 years, and they're like, wish I could have done that. Some of them still struggling with shit now and say they can't stop now. It's like, Like, the other thing too, everyone in their life is going through shit. Life's fucking hard. For me, alcohol and drugs would not have, it was just making it harder, you know?
So, like, Jedd's straight edge as well.
Yeah, he
Same
is,
time as you said.
Yeah, pretty much. Maybe even just before me.
Is Winston and all that?
Yeah, Winston is. I don't think the rest of the guys.
That's probably one of the best things a band member can do, because the demise of almost every massive band is drug and alcohol abuse. But it's also, is it to their detriment? Because a lot of the best bands, they probably can't even play sober.
Yeah, well, but that's fucked, man. Because think about, that'd be like trying to go to work every day.
Like Ozzy Osbourne would have never have played a show sober.
More in the last 10 years he would have, but I mean prior
does
to
he
that,
Does he still?
They were doing shit. They come here to Adelaide. It was a while ago now, but yeah, but they hooked up to oxygen backstage and shit, man, on IV drips, and like they're fucked.
Yeah, right.
From living like that.
Yeah,
like trying to just get them ready to perform. I think they were like, what is it, blood doping, giving them fresh blood so they had some energy before they played.
In the 70s, 80s and 90s, though, they just didn't know.
Yeah, no. And the other thing too, they didn't think it was like a career. They're just fucking loose.
Being rock stars.
Yeah, like same as AC/DC. Bon Scott died, man, because he wasn't thinking, oh, if I do this good, I can fucking be a millionaire. And it wasn't like that. It was like,
we need to do this.
Let's fucking party. You know what I mean? No, they're just partying.
Yeah.
He was like a fan of the band and ended up singing or whatever. Like it wasn't some... So it's kind of like that. But I mean, even like if you look at it from an employer-employee, I'm the best employee ever. I don't drink. I'm never hungover. I'm fucking ready for work. Like,
yeah.
I don't work that hard, but no.
Did you used to listen to a lot of like 80s, 90s kind of metal?
Not really, I wasn't really a metal dude. I like Slayer, obviously, and Metallica and Pantera.
That picture you sent me the other day, it was like fucking spinning out. You're like, yeah, Parkway's not even like the biggest band. I've like been with other bands on weekends as well, and you sent me a picture. I'm like, fuck, who's that cunt in the middle? That's the fucking guitarist from Metallica.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Though I was living in Melbourne, and Metallica, a couple of them surf, and Kobe and Mark were coming down to Melbourne, something like that, and they're like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm not even working. So yeah, for like, I think it was 4 days, we took them down to like the surf coast down there.
What were they like?
Legends.
They were good?
Yeah.
In Torquay?
Yeah. So
shit.
Yeah, so I went down, we had some fucking, we stayed in like some shit accommodation.
Torquay's in Hervey Bay, yeah?
No. Torquay, like Bells Beach and shit.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
So down below Melbourne or across from Melbourne.
Yeah, in Melbourne, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like 2 or 3 days. We surfed different spots. It was pretty cool. There's this old dude called Maurice Cole, who's a fucking, look him up. He got done with drugs and shit years ago, and he's living down around that way. But he's such a great dude. But he paddled out Bells Beach, one of the most famous beaches in the world, and sent everyone in.
No shit.
He goes, all right, guys, everyone go in. And everyone was just looking at him like, what? And he's like, I'm not joking, go in. And I was like, it was fucking a little bit awkward, actually, but so that we could take Metallica surfing and they'd get waves, you know what I mean? And no one would get in the way, but it was pretty weird.
Were they pretty normal?
Yes and no.
I was going to say
they... like, they had this dude who was like just their masseuse. So like... they're getting their wetsuits off and he was just like rubbing them, and I'm just like, oh
dude, if I had that much money, the first thing like I told my missus this the other day, I was like, the first thing I would splurge on if I had inexpendable, like just mass amounts of money, is I would have a personal masseuse every day. I get pretty sore every day.
We went to this cafe that I used to eat at because they asked me, because I was kind of like the local guy, which was weird, and they're like, oh, where do you eat? I said, oh, there's a pretty good cafe up here, I'll take you. And it was like a weekend, I reckon, Sunday, and it was closed. I'm like, oh yeah, this is pretty good, but it looks like it's closed. And they're like, oh no, we want to eat here. And I'm like, yeah, but it's closed. And they're like, no, we want to eat here. And I'm like, and then this other guy kind of pulled me aside. He goes, so they want to eat here, can you get in touch with the owner? And I'm like, I can try. And I did, because through a friend of a friend, and they came to work and opened it for him and made him food.
If fucking Metallica's gonna,
I guess, and I don't know what they charged them, but they whatever.
That's another funny.
So we
thing.
ate there.
Like the richer you get, the less you pay for things.
Yeah, but things like that, right? Parkway would never fucking pull shit like that. If I've been on tour with them and people ask what they're doing, and they're like, "Oh, we're studying," like they don't even tell people what they're like. They're so like different to that. It's kind of the opposite.
Yeah, that's a
They're
fucking...
like, oh, we're a soccer team, or they just joke and don't tell anyone who they are.
Yeah, they don't seem like they're the kind of people who like kind of want to be swarmed with attention.
No, one of them was just telling me they did their first ever like VIP packages where
People can come at backstage.
and sign shit, and they said they'll never do it again.
Yeah, really.
It just wasn't them, and it's not worth the money for them. They'd rather have a couple of hours to chill.
Yeah, right.
It's good though. Like, at least they're not fucking taking money off their fans. Like, if you're a fan of them, buy their merch. You know what I mean?
Just support them.
You don't need to meet them. They're just like you and me. That's the thing with all these fucking people. Everyone's just human.
Did they play a lot of their old stuff at Knotfest?
No, not really.
Really?
They played a little bit of everything, but they don't. That's the other thing. They'd probably play longer at their own shows, but they're going to do...
obviously, because it was a festival.
They still had an hour or something, but I think the set list online, it's mostly, the last 10 years.
They're probably just going to play their newest shit.
They play like 3 or 4 brand new songs, and then a bit of everything. Carry On, they play...
There'd be like 2 or 3 songs they have to play. Like they have to play Vice Grip, Carry On, or
I
Wild
don't
Eyes.
know if they played Vice Grip.
Yeah, right.
But
they should have got you on stage to do Dead Man's
No,
Chest.
we didn't do that.
No.
But I got a little... My son might be doing it on the next tour.
Really?
It'd be fucking sick. I hope.
In front of how many people does he...
Well,
he's a kid. He doesn't...
Yeah, but he showed them that he can sing this other song, this Slipknot song, and they were all just like... And then Winston texted me and goes, if we're doing this tour, he can do the part. And I was like, fuck, that'd be pretty fun.
Well, so it's not out yet, but without ruining anything, they're planning a tour.
They're going to do like a 20-year tour everywhere, I think, so it's not ruining nothing.
They'd sell out the entertainment centre, surely?
That's where their shows were booked prior to COVID.
They easily
had
would
to
sell
cancel
them.
It. I think so. It depends.
They can't do the Thebby. They're too big for the Thebby.
I think so. There was 30,000 people at Knotfest, which was just insane. After COVID, live music's just fucking bizarre, man. Like, people would just... I think after getting told that they can't do something for some bullshit reason...
Everyone wants to
now
do it.
Everyone said, well, fuck, and let's go, So everything's huge now. Like, even Soundwave and all that shit, it was never that big, I don't think. So that's the thing, I was living here, so maybe...
Yeah, festival, the really big festivals here were like electric dance music festivals.
I'd like to know the numbers that they used to get. But I was about to say, and then I might be wrong though, because Metallica and Iron Maiden did 2 Soundwaves, so I'd like to know what they got. But for me anyway, I've never seen Parkway play.
Pretty sure Lamb of God did a Soundwave as well.
Yeah, well, Parkway will smoke them, I think. But fucking Iron Maiden and Metallica, they're the next level for sure.
Yeah, but it's different music.
It is, but they got bigger crowd.
Yeah,
like
100%. Yeah, like
some people would not know who Parkway are.
Metallica could sell out fucking Adelaide Oval if they wanted to. And
they've been pretty quiet actually. I don't know what they're up to.
They could come and just play fucking 10 songs and then fuck off.
Yeah,
I'd
probably go.
Yeah,
I wouldn't pay though.
I fucking would love to go to Metallica.
Well, after we surfed with them, we went to the show, and I was standing like from here to you.
Is it different being? It would be a different experience being backstage, but you'd be used to it.
It is, but it's not anything. Like, even at Knotfest, it was sick to have my son there, and everyone was freaking out because it was like over 18. So it was. But we're in catering, and he's just walking around making juices and fucking. It's pretty clear that he's not even meant to be there, but everyone loved him being there. And a lot of the times backstage at something that big, there's so many workers and shit that you just go under the radar. Like, no one knows who the fuck anyone is. This lady tried to stop me. I'm like, what the fuck are you? Who are you? Get it. Like, I had a pass. She just didn't know her job. Like, she not in catering, because I felt weird being in there, because when people are on tour, you can't fuck with their, you know what I mean? But it was like catering was pretty good. Had like proper coffee and juicer and fucking any meal you want.
Were you with Slipknot then too?
Oh, they're there, but I mean, everyone's got separate
them.
Areas, yeah.
Do they wear the fucking... They don't wear... I was going to say...
This is normal dudes,
yeah, this is
man.
normal.
I heard a couple of the guys in the band are just like their guitar techs and shit now, which is the smart thing that they've done, so they can have anyone play in their band. You know what I mean? Well, most bands, people are attached to the members.
Yeah.
But because they got masks, I know for a fact one of the members is just their guitar tech that now is in Slipknot.
No shit.
And they probably don't pay him any different.
Mm.
But he's not the guitar tech anymore. I think they've got 3 guys: the drummer, the guitarist, and the singer. And then
that would be the only one you can't replace.
The fucking dude that's hitting the drum, like, that could be you.
Yeah.
I don't know what your rhythm's like.
That's all right. I used to play guitar. I'll get on stage for
There you go.
Parkway. That's my
Yeah.
client. That would be my...
I've played guitar for Parkway.
Really?
I came out once at, I think it was like Warp Tour. I was here in Adelaide during Carry On, and I just come out with one of their guitars on and just pretended to play it. And I did the whole song, just fucking around.
Yeah,
and they're just looking at me like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's a crazy... So you've had a fucking crazy life.
No, I'm not really. It's funny. Like living in Sydney too, the people that you get exposed to, it's a bit different to down here, you know. Like
I was going to say, if like
footy
I see
players and all that.
if
shit.
I see like a footy player walking in colonnades, I'd have a meltdown.
But they're just fucking humans.
Yeah.
Most of them are fuckwits. You know what I mean? Like all young kids. Like I was saying, they come to my kid's footy last night. One of them was 19 years old. He could be my kid. You know. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. I've never put people on a pedestal, and that's from hardcore. Like you just sort of learn to treat people. That's just life.
You'd also see the best and worst of those people.
Like I said, you don't want to meet your heroes or whatever. That's pretty true sometimes. People just look, like I said, some people shouldn't throw them under the bus, but Americans usually, they're just a different breed, man. Aussies are awesome. Like, look at Craig Jones, like how fucking sick he is.
He's a fucking national treasure.
And they love him though, but he's just being himself.
See,
and he plays on it, obviously.
He obviously amps it up maybe a little bit, but he's just being Aussie. And
Yeah.
like that, I don't think Americans are accustomed to our humour.
The people that have been exposed to him are now, you know, and when they come here and they kind of know what they're in for. But it's so good. Australians, instead of talking about how good we are, we put ourselves down
Yeah.
and make fun of each other to keep ourselves level-headed. The only thing I don't like about Australia is when we do have a successful person that we try to
bring
knock them
him
down.
down.
Like, dude, Alex Volkanovkis should be on the fucking cover of every newspaper in Australia for a week after that fight. And he probably got a section, and that's got nothing to do with knocking him down, but it's just...
Oh, they don't amp him up. He's possibly the greatest fighter in the world. Or he is the greatest fighter in the world. He's number one pound for pound. And he's from fucking Australia. And he still lives...
from fucking Wollongong.
He still lives in Wollongong.
Yeah.
He still lives there.
Yeah, he drives...
Probably
no one even probably knows who he is.
He's probably in a nicer house, but he hasn't moved away from his
No,
fucking area.
no.
It's insane.
Australia's fucked, and then some dickhead can kick a football and they put him on a pedestal.
I don't watch like the WWE. I don't watch it anymore.
Yep.
But there was a girl...
Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
She was on the cover of the newspaper. You know why I know this? Because my 5-year-old son loves wrestling.
Yeah, but she's from fucking Adelaide.
Yeah.
She's from Henley Beach.
Well, they put her on the cover of the newspaper the other day.
Yeah, it's a bit shit that Alex
Yeah.
didn't get a front page.
Yeah,
but shit.
it's
But
fucking...
still...
Even if he had won, I wonder if he would have...
He fucking won that fight. I still reckon he did.
But the fuck thing with UFC is they give points for control.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
So even though he's laughing at him...
And punching him in the head.
If that was a street fight, he won easily. Because he's making fun of the guy, getting out of the guy's fucking submission attempts.
If they scored the fight as a whole, I think he would have won. And if
I thought, why not make it a draw and get him to fight again?
an extra round.
Fuck yeah.
Dude, there was...
I never understood the UFC. One, they've got dickheads that can tell you who won or not, which you should never leave it in judges' hands, really.
So the UFC had a competition. I don't remember what it was. I think it was Korean, and they did fights outside the UFC, like a tournament.
Yeah.
And the two winners fought on a UFC card recently.
Yeah, right.
And it was the end of their tournament.
Yeah, right.
And I was watching it, and I didn't know it was happening. And the fight was pretty close, so they did a 4th round.
Yeah, right.
And it was...
It's like extra time.
It was sick. And I was like, what's going on? And I messaged Miles, and he was like, oh, it's this, and that. And that's the rule set in their promotion. And if there was a 5th round of that Volkanovkis, a 6th round... Islam would have fucking went to... He couldn't even stand up at the end of that fight. And Volk wasn't even fucking panting.
But what I hate, doesn't look like they're going to run it back either.
Nah, they won't. They got other things to do in their own divisions. They might run it back in the future.
That's why they should have said draw, 2 months, it's on again.
Yeah.
In
Dubai.
Yeah.
That would be fucking hell.
And like the cool thing is too, those two, like, they know they're both good. They're not talking shit, you know?
Yeah.
That's one thing.
And I think
UFC,
Islam also knew he like kind of got that he got the best of
they would not have been happy, man.
Yeah, Khabib wouldn't have been happy.
No, they didn't fucking... Well, they didn't...
They didn't dominate.
Yeah, no way.
Anything less than a domination.
Dude, he had his back and he was don't know. It was a bit of a weird one. As soon as he took his back, I was like, oh no.
Craig done well. I think
Yeah.
Craig did really well in that
But
camp with him.
Volk's just a fucking beast. Like, he wasn't even defending. He's fucking, you know, if that was me, I'd be fucking like the whole time. He was just like,
And laughing.
yeah, and like looking at the
talking
cameras,
shit.
and so he's going like, as he's going like that, he's exposing his whole. But for some reason, he wasn't even. I don't know. I maybe have to watch it again.
This one will be out next Friday, so the Izzy fight would have already happened. Who do you got, Izzy or Pereira?
I hope Izzy.
You do?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
can
That's
see
another
it.
funny story I've got. When we went to the UFC here in Adelaide, Richie, who's my mate, he used to fight in the UFC, Richie Vass.
Yeah.
He goes, you want to go to the fights? I was like, fuck yeah, I'll go. He goes, yeah, I'm going to fly in. I said, yeah, sweet. So I picked him up. He goes, oh, we've just got to pick up the tickets. So I took him to some hotel room where he picked up the tickets. And when we get there, he has the tickets. So I got no idea where the fuck we're going. As we're showing the security the tickets, they keep pushing us further and further. And I'm thinking, fuck, we got pretty good tickets here. We're going to be close. Front row. And it's like Pettis and his wife, Rob Whittaker and his partner, Richie, me, and Izzy.
That's sick.
So Izzy's here, Richie, Rob Whittaker, and they hadn't met yet either. So they shook hands and said hello to each other for the first time that day, Whittaker and Izzy.
That's sick.
Then they fought a couple months later or whatever it was.
I reckon, unfortunately, it's not going to go Izzy's way this weekend.
I don't know. I hope it is.
Yeah, I think just once someone... I think
He
just
can't stand in front of the fucking
some people
guy.
just have your measure, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and then there's... Izzy obviously cannot get hit by him. And he's a hard person to not get hit by.
Yeah, I respect that he's fucking just said, yeah, this is it. I'm fucking going for it. Like, he could have just said, yeah, whatever.
Because this is like not a nail in the coffin. Like, he's still going to be a great fighter. He beats everyone else in the division. But if he loses this time, it does take a little... He will take a little personal loss.
I don't know. I'd look at it as respect. At least he's trying. I'd rather. That's why UFC is better than boxing, because the fighters actually
They give a fuck.
They don't. They
don't
care if they
protect their
lose,
records.
but they care if they lose, but they're happy to fight the best.
And there's Masvidal and Burns. That's a good fight. I reckon Masvidal's going to sleep.
Oh yeah, he's not winning.
He's retiring after this if he loses, he said.
I saw that.
Yeah.
But, see, I'm a bit more of a casual UFC. I'm not really. Like, I know everyone now, but like a lot of my mates have been into it from day dot, and I'm not. Like the Diaz brothers sort of were my first. That I just love. I love when fighters, they might not be the most skillful, but they show heart. You know what I mean?
The Diaz brothers, if they were from Australia, would 100% be from Sydney.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. That could be from Seaford.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like McGregor, can't stand him.
Really?
Oh man,
Yeah.
hated him before he did that boxing thing, but then the boxing, those press conferences,
He's a very acquired taste.
he's a fuckwit.
Yeah.
And he's probably not. He's probably a legend. He just does it to sell
It's
himself.
like Colby
but-
Covington.
Yeah, but I just can't cop that shit. Plus, he's quit how many times now? Like that. Look at that. How's he fucking tapping from that picture? He's not getting choked. It's just hurting his chin a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, my chin's sore. Tap. Come on, man.
I've seen Adam put your head inside his rash guard. And
Nah, he hasn't done that to me, thank God.
He hasn't.
And he fucking won't. But I mean, if that was me and I'm fighting for whatever the fucking title, you have to kill me. You know what I mean?
didn't he arm trap you and like draw on your face?
Probably. Oh, he did. He gave me hair. He gave me hair. Yeah.
What a fucking bully.
He's a fucking asshole.
He's such
Fuck
a
him.
bully.
Fuck you, Adam.
Fuck you, Adam.
You're in your brother's shadow, cunt. No.
You're not the best Jones brother.
No.
Oh, he'll be down soon.
Yes, he will. Oh, yeah. He's doing...
Thailand as well.
yeah. God, imagine that trip.
Wouldn't want to. I did Perth with
I
them.
wonder
That
if
was
they
enough.
do any training over there.
No, it's just lady boys.
But people are actually paying to go, so they must train a bit. I think it's open to other people, isn't it? Or is it just a
I think
trip?
it's a legit seminar.
Yeah, someone asked me, "Are you going?" I'm like, "What? Fucking
It's not my.
way.
It's not my scene.
I got 2 kids and fucking no money anyway." But
Yeah. Well, that was fucking really interesting. That was fun. That was really fun. I hope you enjoyed
thanks
yourself.
for having me. Yeah,
So people can listen to 5Q's podcast on Apple
it's everywhere. I think 5Q's
Everything.
the podcast.
with him and Chode or Jedd Gordon.
Yeah.
So is he alright with being called Chode now?
I think it's kind of stopped a bit, but keep calling him it.
Yeah.
You know what it means, right?
Yeah. It's
Small penis.
Small, thick penis.
Yeah. I don't know about thick, but small.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
alright. We'll go
But
with
yeah,
that.
we can still call him that.
Chode. Shout out to Parkway. If you're ever in Adelaide, please come on the podcast. If any of you watch this,
I could get them on here, I reckon.
hope so. I'll do one with Winston sober, and then I'll do one with the other boys.
None of them really get crazy, so
No.
they'd all be pretty tame. But I think they just have a beer here and there
Yeah.
just to chill.
Well, thanks for coming on heaps, man. That was good.
Thanks for
I
having
enjoy
me.
it. Thanks. Puss.